Hello, welcome to Lord Havoc's Marvel Champions custom content extravaganza. I have another creator spotlight for you today. I love doing these so much, man. Meeting new people. For today's episode, I've got someone who I haven't really had a lot of interaction with in the community until just recently. And I was immediately blown away by their very cool sort of creation ideas, but also just how nice they were. And I was like, "Hey, I want to talk to you some more. So let's get a chat happening." So that person is in fact Insanohops. Insanohops. I hope I'm saying it right. But I'm allowed to say Insano, so we're just going to go with that. So, Insano, how you doing? Welcome to Creator Spotlight.
I'm good. Yeah, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Awesome, love it. Could you please introduce yourself? You don't introduce yourself to me, I already know, but if introduce yourself to the listeners and sort of give a little couple of factoids about yourself as well.
Sure. Yeah, so like you said, I go by Insanohops or Insano or Hops or a myriad of other names, but those are probably the most common. Yeah, I'm live in California. I've been creating custom content just since last September, so a few months away from a year now, and
Cool.
yeah, I've just been really enjoying it in the community.
Awesome. So you've even joined fairly recently.
Yep.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
fairly recently.
Yeah, and look at your output already. Like I've got your table up, which you know because you're connected to it. I can see your hand moving around. So I've got your table up. And it's just this is a heap of content for someone who's joined just so recently. So did you come into the community like raring to go? Did you join the community because you wanted to create stuff, or did you just come in to lurk for a bit?
Yeah, no, I joined when I started creating stuff. I was actually I joined, I guess, right after I started creating stuff because I I'm not super technologically savvy and I was really struggling creating anything. I was watching like YouTube videos and I saw people in the community had posted like how-to videos, and so I was watching those actually, and I got like the templates that like a lot of people use, and maybe even yourself, and yeah, and I started using those, and then I kind of found the community, and yeah, then yeah, that's how I kind of joined there.
Awesome. And how did you find the community? Was it via like Facebook or like a YouTube video or through the Hall of Heroes or something?
Funny enough, I think it's actually through you. I think it's through your videos.
Wow.
I think I stumbled across your custom content like YouTube videos that you make. This was before the creator spotlights, just you make custom content
Mm.
videos about like you playing either your own heroes or other people's custom content, and I think that's how I actually found out that like people were making custom content for this game.
Wow, we didn't set that up, folks. This is natural. This actually happened. So that is amazing. That makes me feel so good, man. That's awesome. My humble little videos brought you in. I love it. Great. And then yeah, and then so once you jumped in, you're already getting the creation stuff happening. And it says, did you lurk for a bit, or did you like reach out sort of like straight away and get your channel and happening and all that sort of stuff?
I was kind of just 10 toes down on creating, so I just started. So originally why like where I started creating
Hmm.
was I have a comic book that I made, and I thought it would be cool if I could play as my characters in this game. And
Cool.
so I created them. And so
Right.
then that's where I started, and it's um, all art from the book, which it's a black and white book, and
Yep.
it's uh, much of the community probably wouldn't approve of the art quality, but But it's all from my book, and so yeah, and so that's where I started. So I started just creating because I wanted to make like a pseudo core box of like my stuff, which the book's called The Camelot Gang, and so I started with my heroes and then with scenarios, and I didn't quite finish it because quickly realized if I wanted anyone else to play any of my stuff, I'd probably have to make something a little more mainstream than my book that only,
Yeah.
a couple like tens of people have read. So,
You touched on it, but the community is very comic focused and very Marvel focused. But there's, I
yes.
mean, sometimes some people branch out with sort of other stuff, and I can understand why they're sort of Marvel focused. I mean, it's called Marvel Champions, right? But
Right.
there's people out there that love like random stuff and sort of outside the box sort of. And the DC community is actually really quite large and well
Yeah.
respected. And funnily enough,
Yep.
the community actually started. I mean, the logo for the community used to be Booster Gold. Like it was a DC character, so it was pretty on the
Which
Discord.
is the one DC character I actually
Yeah,
made um,
we'll be getting to
so
him.
far, at least.
Don't you worry, we'll be getting to him. Don't you worry about that. But it just, but yeah. So you're right. So there will be some sort of naysayers, but they're the minority. I think people have really embraced the outside the box, outside of Marvel type stuff, especially DC crowd, like I said, but also people like Inquire and his He Man and Turtles stuff, like that's huge. And
Yeah.
there's definitely like non-Marvel,
Yeah.
non-DC sort of stuff. But I want to
For
touch on this.
sure.
I don't want to brush over this though. So this is a comic that you created, as in wrote and penciled.
No, I just wrote it. I worked with an artist and a penciler and um, a few different artists. Like for I don't know how versed you are in comic book creation, but
Mm,
it's generally a team of like 4 or 5 people, and
yep,
so I got like a letterer and the artist, obviously, and then someone else who did like the cover art and stuff. And so I worked with a small team to make the book, and yeah, I am really proud of it. I'm also working with a small publisher in Australia, actually, and you can find the Camelot Gang in several libraries in Australia. So. If you're
that's
ever at
unbelievable.
the library and you want to check it out, you might be able to.
That is so cool. Well, I am actually quite well versed. I actually have my own self-published comic. I used to have
Oh, awesome.
yeah, I used to have a podcast called NCP, and yeah, we did. This is what we covered: comics, pop culture sort of stuff. And so I've interviewed
Yeah.
quite a few of comic creators and Brian Michael Bendis and stuff.
Oh,
And
wow. That's
yeah,
super
and
cool.
as part of that the NCP podcast, we actually produced our own comic as well, which was we had a segment on the show called Contest of Champions, which was the classic nerd conversation of who would win in a fight between X and Y.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's awesome.
we produced a comic based on one of those conversations, one of those battles, which was X-23 versus Robin, Damien, and yeah, it
Oh,
was
man.
great
That's so
fun. Getting
cool.
the cover artists, getting the pencils done, and like probably it's that sort of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, yeah. As I know quite a lot of the Australian comic scene as well because that's where I am, obviously Australia.
Yeah.
So yeah, so to hear that yours is here available. So what? So is it? It's called Camelot Gang. Camelot
Yeah, the
Gang.
Camelot
I'm
Gang.
googling
Yeah.
it as we speak. Comic. And it's available here. Camelot Gang, Jericho of the West. It's even on
Yep.
Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah. It was actually
That's
on.
awesome.
Yeah, I actually found out that you guys have different Amazon than we do
Yeah,
through the creation of this, because my book, because my publisher is he's an Australian, and he's all based out of Australia. My book was actually on Amazon Australia before Amazon here.
that's amazing. Am I allowed to? I mean, if I link it, I guess it'll dox you. Is it okay if I link like to the Amazon page?
No, go for it. Yeah, no, I'd be
Okay, all right.
happy
Well,
happy to anyone
in
who's interested to take a look at it.
awesome. The description of the video, I will have a link to purchase the Camelot Gang Jericho over the West. The cover looks amazing. Who's the cover artist?
Um, it should say
I
on
can't quite see
the
it.
cover.
Can't quite see it. It's
All
really small.
everybody's credited, so
Yeah,
it
everybody's
should
great.
it
Yeah,
all
so
of
awesome. Just awesome stuff. This is wow. I think I'm even more excited about this than about the MC stuff. But we have to continue with the MC stuff because we're on an MC creator spotlight. I want to talk about more of
sorry
this. I
if
mean,
I derailed
You're
us.
Australian publisher. I probably even know who they are and stuff. We should talk. Do you want to keep talking about this? I'm happy to keep talking about this. I need to do
Yeah,
this.
no, I love it. I
Did you
love
actually come to
talking about
Australia at any point to talk to anybody, or was it all sort of like
I
online?
did. Yeah, I
Wow,
did go to Australia actually on my honeymoon. And me and my wife were able to go look at my book in a library there, and it was super gratifying. It was a really cool experience. I mean, Australia itself was awesome, and I was on my honeymoon, so obviously I had a great time. But being able to see my book there was another special experience, so that was cool.
that is unbelievable. There's a comic shop in Melbourne called All Star Comics, and they are really big fans of indie publishers and stuff. I'm just checking their
Mm.
website right now to see if they've got it. Camelot Gang. Just to see it. No, it's not there. Why is it not there? You should speak to your publisher. Why do they not have it? That's not acceptable. I'm going to send them I'm going to send them an email after this interview and say, hey, you better need to pick up this book. This is awesome. Wow, that is so cool, dude. I'll purchase it. I'm going to purchase it for sure. Awesome. So yeah, so you got a character based on that. Now, insane. We said that people might be a bit iffy about the art, but I think what they're actually going to be more annoyed about is that the font for his name is wrong.
Yeah.
They're going to pick on you for that more than anything else. I assure you.
If they look through my set, they're gonna have a lot to pick on me for. So as I said, this was my first one, and as
Yeah.
you know, creator yourself, I'm
Yeah.
sure you're well aware that Marvel has a lot of very specific
Yes.
idiosyncrasies about how you go about creating it and what the format needs to be
Yeah.
and uh, all of the things. And even though I had played Marvel Champions, I mean, honestly, I only probably played for like a year before I started creating. But I was playing a lot. I got very into it. I'm
Mm.
semi hyper addictive. Like I get really into things I get into. And so I dove in pretty deep to Marvel Champions. And so I was playing a lot. And um, there's things that you don't even realize
Yeah.
like about the language of it just by playing it, I feel, or at least I didn't. So
Yeah.
I had a lot to learn when I actually started creating. One of the biggest things is I didn't really understand cost arrows, and that like cost arrows are on like basically all the cards. But my first set of heroes, like I think all three of these ones I made, I don't think you'll find a single cost arrow because I didn't
No.
understand that you need a cost arrow to basically do anything in this game.
Not quite anything, but
And
it's more of a if you have to do something in order to get a reward of some kind, then it should be a cost arrow. Is my understanding of how it works.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
No,
right.
I can tell this is your first one. I mean, there's in terms of language, I've had this conversation on multiple spotlights now. It's just the grammar, the misuse of the English language in this game. It really upsets me sometimes because I'm a I'm an English major, and it's just stuff like that just really frustrates me. But yeah, there's certain rules that sort of make sense, right? So for example, the badge, it says the sheriff gains +1 thwart and steady should actually be gets, because you get a stat boost and you gain an ability. So just things like that,
Right.
right? Just like important
Yeah.
thing to sort of for the community to sort of make sure that we get it right to sort of match the formatting of the game and stuff. It still means the same thing. You still gain the +1 thought, but it's just like that
Right.
fiddly sort of stuff. So,
Yeah.
but as long as the
So
intent is there for me, as long as the intent is right, I have no problem with that. It's fine. It is what
yeah.
it
Yeah. I think the set is very playable,
is. Mm,
but if because a lot of I think a lot of things in the game like they make sense, like just if you look at it, but in according to the rules, like it just breaks the game. Like for instance, yeah, like the revolver here,
Mm.
like exhaust this card and discard a grit counter to ready the sheriff, but it doesn't have a cost arrow, right? So technically, you don't have to do any of that to actually use it.
Mm.
Like if you can't exhaust it, actually, I remember I was having this conversation with Tuna, just the Tuna. I'm not sure if you've had him on here yet, but I
No.
owe him a great deal for understanding the cost arrows because he was the first one who pointed out to me that like, oh, if you don't have the cost arrow, then if I can't exhaust it, that's actually fine. So you can just keep using it
Yeah.
since there's not a cost. You
Yeah.
just do whatever you can and then ready. So you could just so while I think anyone playing with it would understand like, oh, you exhaust it, do the thing, and then do it.
Mm.
Um, for the language of the game, this card's completely broken.
Right. Restricted plus one attack or basic attack. So yeah, restricted. You get plus one attack, and your basic attacks now gain piercing. Not the word now. Hero action: exhaust this card and discard a grit counter to ready the sheriff. Yeah, that's finicky. It still works perfectly fine in my brain. I know exactly what it's trying to say. It's perfectly fine. I
Yeah,
think for me, most important things when I'm creating stuff is theme and mechanics. Does the theme match, and do the mechanics actually make sense? That's really all it is. Then you work on all the other stuff. It's art and the proper verb, wording and stuff like that. But this is cool. So his gun's called Merlin's wand. I just this is the things that excite me more are things like, hell, his gun's called Merlin's wand. That's awesome. His name is Jericho. His signature ally is a chick called Arthur. Is that a girl? It's a girl called Arthur, right?
it is. It
That's
is a girl, and it
yeah.
actually is his wife, or maybe
There you
not at
go.
this moment, but she'll
That's
become his wife.
I find that far more exciting than whether it should be gets or gains. But yeah, that is, and the fact that you made like your own character into a hero is just amazing. It's just and you actually already had the art ready to go. You are so lucky for that. That is so good. There's a couple of creators that are also trying to do things like that. Run's trying to make his sort of his persona type as a hero, and
Yes,
I
yes,
turned
yes.
an RPG character that I used to play when I was like 25, and turned that into like an actual hero and stuff. Trying to find art for that, and because there is none, and it just yeah, it's a project.
Yeah.
This is so amazing. I love this so much. Yeah, awesome. All right, we should showcase him on an episode one day. We should play this guy. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, yeah, I'd
Yeah,
love to. That'd
yeah,
be a
that'd
lot
be
of fun.
awesome. So that's your very first creation. Awesome. Where did you go from there?
So I stayed in the Camelot gang for a while, so I made Trigger next. So he's another
Oh, so
member of the
it's not the
Camelot
horse.
gang.
It's another member of the gang. Okay, that's cool. Look at his
Yeah,
hat.
sorry, I'm trying to pull it up.
His hat's amazing.
I'm struggling to pull it out.
That's right. It loads faster on me because I'm host, so I'll
Oh,
pull stuff out.
okay.
Just let me know what you want me to pull out, and I'll pull it out.
Yeah, yeah. So this was my second uh work.
Yeah.
uh and yeah, after Trigger, then I made Frigid Ridge, who's another hero, and then I started. I was gonna make five heroes, like the original core box had five heroes, and so my idea was kind of to make like an amalgamation between like the core box, the original core box with like the five heroes, and then what they turn into with the five villains in every subsequent box, And so I was going to
Right.
make a five hero box with five villains was the original idea behind the Camelot Gang.
Hmm.
And so I got three heroes in, and I was like, man, I want to like play these guys against their scenarios. So then I started making the scenarios, and I got three into that, and I should say I've gotten a lot faster, but when I was making these, man, I don't know how long it took you when you first started, but it would take me a couple of days to make like this hero set you're looking at was
Hmm.
probably close to 20 hours of like me just it took me so long. I was so slow. I didn't know what I was doing. I was not a natural at all. Most of the technology I had to like download, which even that was a task for me. Like everything was hard to use.
I think you're being
Everything.
too mean on yourself. 20 hours, that's not that bad. What's wrong with that? That's fine. Did you? What was the sort of creation process? Did you write it all down first, in like a spreadsheet or a document or something, and then once you had it all worked out in
Yes.
your head, then made the cards physically? Well,
Yes, I
electronically.
always write it down on a Word document first. So usually I'll think of it, but I'm not counting that time in that 20 hours. Like the 20
Mm.
hours is like I'm actually just trying to generate the cards.
Oh, in that case, that is
But yeah,
hopeless. You're right. No, I'm joking.
that's what I'm saying.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's fine.
But yeah, when I'm creating, I always I'll like write down my ideas. That's how I usually like think of the idea, and then I'll want to type it out and kind of refine it, make sure it makes sense on paper, and
Mm.
then I'll create the cards.
Right. Okay. That's fine. That makes perfect sense. I do the same thing. Everything, and I think you'll find almost everybody does. It's and then once you've got it, then as the cards, you play test. Do you actually play test your creations?
Yeah, yep.
Yep. Cool. When you were first started, so back to Jericho. So, um, did you did you already have an idea in your mind of what you wanted the hero to do? Like what mechanics would represent the hero? And did you then just sort of like, or did you like just sort of steal from a bunch of heroes that already existed, or did you have like the mechanic to go?
Yeah, theme and mechanics are like the two most important pieces for me as well. I think you were saying that.
Mm.
So for me, I wouldn't have been happy, which not to like try to disparage it. I know a lot of people do reskins and it's awesome. People
Mm.
who are much better at all of the art stuff than me, but I wouldn't have been happy reskinning. I wanted to like create a new mechanic with the hero, and
Right off the
so
bat, that's ballsy. I
yeah.
love it.
So yeah, I kind of came up with a mechanic that I thought would be thematic and would work within the game, and then I ran with that, and then the same. So yeah, I think I where I would always start was trying to pin down a mechanic and then build
Mm.
from there. Like what could this person do that would be unique and thematic kind
And
of
then did
a
you
feel.
want Trigger to be completely unique or sort of follow on from Jericho?
Completely unique again. I mean, obviously they're
Cool.
both cowboys, so like there's like theming overlap, but mechanically they're very different. And the core mechanic on both of them you could kind of see right away off of their hero ability. They both kind of build off of that. So like for Trigger, it's choose an enemy and spend resources from hand, then deal one damage per resource spent to that enemy. And so he kind of has this perma built-in resource dump. But then once you start building him out, it becomes a lot more than that because he has a card that like if he dumps any wild resources into that ability, he gets the card back. So then you can start like trying to do it in the front end and still play your hand out. And he has a card that like whenever he uses it, it adds one damage. So then you can like be try to be more like precise. If you have like a 3 health minion, you can just like throw in two cards to take them out, and then his gun will do the third.
Mm.
And so his mechanic is very built off of that hero ability right there, quick shot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So right from the start, so you said you played for a year before you started creating. I mean, right from the start, you have
yeah,
a pretty firm grasp of how these things are meant to work. Like even just this on its own, right? Um, so ignoring the wording problem, but in terms of you spend resources to then do damage based on the resources that you spend, right? And then the Colt
hmm
upgrade, it says when using Quickshot, which is the name of his ability, add one damage to the amount dealt, and then the attack gains piercing. Um, Love it, just loves it. Yeah, it's really cool. It makes perfect sense. And that's basically how you got the fundamentals already, like ready to go. Great stuff. All right. So there's the other member of the outlaw, and then you said you dived into scenarios. I mean, that is brave. God damn. so, so once you've done the heroes, you went into scenarios. Which let's get was Deadeye Bag a scenario? Yeah.
Yes, all three of these are
All
scenarios.
right. Let's look at some
I
scenarios.
made I made two. Deadeye is actually like a collector one, collector two type of a thing, where Deadeye is one person, but he has two scenarios in what would have been the Camelot Gang campaign.
Ah, okay. Right. So did I Duke? Right. Okay. Cool. All right. Let's talk about it. So, I mean, yeah. So you didn't. So this isn't a reskin of collector. This is a similar sort of mechanic, right? The way it sort of works.
No, sorry, it's not. The only similarity between this and collector is that it's the same villain for two scenarios.
Okay, cool. Right, sweet, awesome. All right, well, let's talk about this. This is so very brave for you to jump straight into scenarios. So, do you agree with the adage that scenarios are harder to make than heroes? And if yes, why?
They're definitely more time consuming.
Yeah,
Um, just because heroes, at least with all the template, like with all of, we're basically building on the backs of giants, right? Been so
yeah,
many people before us creating and set the groundwork to make it so accessible, and like I would have been so hopelessly unable to create any of this if like Hitch's table didn't exist, and like
yeah.
someone, I can't credit everybody because I don't know everybody who was involved, but there's a lot of people who like went to create the templates that I use, and
Hmm.
just like basically have already put all the pieces in place, so I get to just click buttons and create these cards,
Yeah,
um, but having said that, for heroes, it's like even more streamlined, where it's like really, you're making 15 cards, and and for the most part that's it, right? And
hmm.
and then the hero card. But for scenarios, there can be so much more than that. I recently made a scenario that had 40 cards, and they were almost all one ofs. So that one was a beast. And right when I thought I was getting fast at creation, that one took me a while.
Cool. And it's the balancing I find is yeah, it's like trying to make it. I mean, make it a challenge without making it just boring or hard, just too
Yeah,
hard or
yeah,
even too easy. Even too easy annoys people. It's like, oh well, I trounced through this pretty quick. It's just it fascinates me the concept. I much prefer creating scenarios than I do heroes because the challenge, the jigsaw puzzle of trying to make it all work is quite fascinating.
yeah,
And you're right
yeah.
about the
I think I
shoulders of giants. I love that comment so much. I'm going to use that as a quote. We're standing on the shoulders of giants. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for those early pioneers of this creation stuff, for sure.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, so true. Yeah, yeah. I think I'm with you. I think I enjoy creating scenarios more. It really is a fun puzzle, and I know everyone has different tastes and difficulty, but I generally like. I guess, quick aside, before I was playing Marvel Champions, I was really into a different Fantasy Flight LCG, which was the Lord of the Rings LCG,
Cool.
and um, I don't know if you've played it or not,
Yeah,
but
I've played it. I've made customs for it. I've got a whole mod with all my customs. Star Wars and Star
oh
Trek.
man, all right,
Star
I'm
Wars
talking
and
to the
Star
right
Trek.
guy. So that game is brutally difficult.
Yes. Yes.
It's it's 1-to-1 much harder than Marvel Champions. Like I feel like most of the time in Marvel Champions, you're like, all right, let me go out, grab a hero, flex my muscles a little bit, and then we'll call it a day with a dub.
Yeah.
With Lord of the Rings, you're usually signing up to get kicked in the pants over and over again.
Yeah.
And so I enjoy, and I don't know if that's why or not, but I enjoy a slightly harder level. So some of my favorite villains in Marvel Champions are actually like Venom Goblin and Ronin,
Wow.
and like Magneto, and so
That's a statement.
I yeah, so especially in these first three, I think I made pretty tough I feel like a lot of feedback I have gotten has uh, pulled me back in the difficulty lane because I know a lot of people do not share my tastes for
Really? Don't listen.
masochism really.
Don't listen to them. Don't listen to them. See, the thing is, let's just use those examples, right? So your two favorite scenarios are Venom, Goblin, and Ronin, right? The reason I feel, and I think I'm pretty well informed, is the reason Venom Goblin is not hated and Ronin is because Venom Goblin is hard, but it's fairly hard. Like it's fair about it,
Yeah,
right? There's a way to
yeah,
work around it and still survive and still win. Whereas Ronin is perfectly normal. It's actually not even a hard scenario. It's a perfectly acceptable scenario until you get that fanaticism combo that
yeah,
just is just
yeah.
so unfair. So you could be kicking
Yes.
butt and then suddenly boom boom now I'm dead. Now I'm out of it. That's I think that's sort of like the comparison. I don't think people would dislike hard or challenging. I think is the more thing. I don't People don't dislike a challenge. They just dislike terrible RNG that just annoys you. That's my take.
Yeah, no, and that's totally fair. And I don't know if you've checked it out, but on the DC table, there is a reskin of Ronin, which
Mm.
actually changed. So fanaticism is, uh, the card that
Yeah.
like I feel like makes Ronin feel not fun, and because not only is it the worst card in his set, but it has the word Surge on it for no reason. Without Surge, it would still be the worst card in his set, but it
Yeah.
says Surge for no good reason. And on the DC table, they reskinned Ronin, but took Surge off of that card, which I actually think makes him a lot more fair. He still has some stuff about him that feels a little unfair,
Yeah.
but yeah. So good
I get
job
it.
to the
The DC
reskin team
guys,
on
yeah,
that
the
one.
reskins, yeah, the DC guys are good. They actually did some sort of redesigns for some of the others in the reskins. I think what they've done is they've reskinned them word for word, but then they've got the reskin slightly altered version to sort of make it a little bit better. Uh, some of those it's just amazing work. The work on the DC table is just amazing. But you're so right about Lord of the Rings. I'm enjoying this conversation so much. The fact that you even brought up Lord of the Rings is so good. I was obsessed before Marvel Champions. I came onto my radar. I was
Same,
obsessed with Lord of the Rings. Just and
same. Yeah,
yeah, and like I said, I made my own customs for it and stuff, all that sort of stuff. It's
that's
just
awesome. Is
it's
there
just
a
amazing.
community for that?
Is there a community for custom Lord of the Rings stuff? Yes.
Yeah.
Hell yes. Not necessarily the stuff that I did. I sort of branch. They have the same sort of, I want to say, snobbery of non-Tolkien stuff for them that Marvel
Mhm.
Champions, don't really want to see, custom Western characters as well, right? So they have the same sort of level
Yeah.
of snobbery for that. And it's so there's not really a lot of sort of the Trek, Star Wars sort of stuff that I did, but there is a huge custom community that have extended the game beyond what you've got. That is just
Oh
really
yeah.
impressive, unbelievable. Legacy.
Yeah, the Alep. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Alep. Yeah, exactly right.
Yes,
Yeah, it's just. Are
that's right.
you are
I
you in
remember
the
that.
are you in on the on Doug Beer's order for the prints for those? Have you seen that? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, no, I'm not. I have everything. Well, I got everything for Lord of the Rings except for I think On the Doorstep. The second Hobbit box was just impossible for me to get,
Oh, that's
and
a shame.
then the Alep stuff is kind of right when I got out of it
Oh, gotcha.
and started to get into this. But
Oh man, I've got every single Lord of the Rings card ever produced, and all of the stuff ordered for the extenuation, the long journey and
oh,
Alep
you
and
have
all that
all
sort
of
of
it
stuff. I've got
too.
I've got it all like in the
Awesome.
trays in my game room. I tried to
I
I was obsessed with it. I tried to introduce my brother-in-law to it, and I was
yeah,
going back to what you were saying about the challenging nature of it because he loves like Tolkien
yeah.
and all that sort of stuff and Lord of the Rings movies and all that
Uh-huh.
sort of stuff. And so I was like, all right, well, there's a arcade game for this, and he loves games, and he was like, hit me up, like this is the greatest thing I've ever heard about. So I introduced him to the
Mhm.
game, and very first game he got destroyed.
Yeah,
Second game destroyed. So long story short, like 12 games in, he hasn't won a single game, and he was like, why did you,
yep.
David? Why did you do this to me? Like, why did you hate me? And I'm like, I'm like, but this is the reality of this game. You know what I mean? So what I did is I then built the one deck. Do you know C Stan's one deck?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yes.
C-Stan, a legend of the community, of course, and
Yep.
so he built with a deck that he calls the one deck that is basically able to beat every single scenario. So I built that for him
Yep.
using my cards because he only just had the core set, and then we played it, and then of course annihilated like the first three, and he was like, okay, so
Even
essentially
even the third one,
even the
even the
third one,
third
yeah,
of
even the third one, yeah, the one deck just doesn't care, man. The one deck just annihilates. It's just ridiculous, and so. Even unless, of course, if the RNG had meant that I had lost, because one of the heroes on the one deck is, oh gee, it's gone out of my brain now. The leader of the elves. If you lose him,
yeah,
then you're screwed. So if you get that, you obviously just
right.
reset, right? But anyway, but we won all three. And he was like, so essentially, what you're saying to me, Dave, is you need to cheat in order to win this game. And I'm like, no. No, don't think of it that way. It's you need to rise to the challenge, right? It encourages creative deck building, right? Like C-Stan played hundreds and possibly thousands of games to get to this point, right? And I can guarantee you most of those will have been losses. And now he's addicted. Now he just loves it every time I see him, which is not that often, unfortunately. But he's like, let's play a game, Lord of the Rings. Like, all right, okay, cool. So yeah,
Yeah.
this is meant to be.
Yeah.
This is meant
Yeah.
to be your spotlight, and I did all the talking. I apologize. Go.
No, no, I enjoyed it. That Lord of the Rings is I was deep into that game as well. Like I spent way too much time just on it was Lord of the Rings DB, or like
Yeah,
Marvel has
yeah.
the same thing, and I would just create decks, and I was just like I
Oh,
would
so
spend
cool.
hours like just creating a deck, and like just
Yes.
like trying to create something that could hold up to like C stands one deck. And so I spent so much time just creating decks and going over cards, and actually that that nature of me to like really want to just create awesome decks and stuff is a big part of how I got into the custom scene here too as well, because I started doing that for Marvel, and I started creating decks, just on Marvel DB, and with the hero sets though, it's not nearly as, and with the solo hero, right? Like with Lord of the Rings, you have three heroes you're picking for, and all of the cards, like there's no pre-built cards, like there's no hero deck. So you're constructing the whole deck. So when I started creating decks for Marvel, I really enjoyed it, but it wasn't as involved as I think I needed it to be to justify spending 3 hours creating a deck.
Yeah, no,
and,
exactly. Yeah. Oh
and so
man.
then I think I just wanted more, and then I found the custom stuff, and there certainly is more when you open up the door to everything.
Yeah. Also, I spent hours and hours on Hall of Brionne. Just
Yes, yes,
magnificent
yes.
resource for that. So I've made my own
Yep.
decks, and it's just just awesome. And there's even a bit of a crossover here. I don't know if I've revealed this before, but I'll do it now. I recently released a Hydra Unleashed campaign, and the very first mission in that is called Blitzkrieg, and it is a complete rip-off of a Lord of the Rings scenario. So it's almost
Oh,
word for word.
awesome.
So I just
Which
like
one?
um, I can't remember it's the one where I can't remember what it's called, but it's the one where you have to save the villagers from being killed by the invading orc army. And you have like the villager
Yes.
tokens, and you have the two environments where it's the rescued villagers and the dead villagers. You have to, and then at the end of the game, you got to make sure you
Yes.
got more rescued than dead. Do you remember that one?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's basically that. Just slightly changed to fit into the
Yeah.
Marvel Champions universe. It just make the mechanics work. And that
Yep.
got a lot
Very
of
cool.
praise, and I felt weird. I felt weird about it because I was like, people like this scenario, and it's not even mine. I feel kind of odd about it. But the way it was explained to me, it was like, no, you just at least you were smart enough to realize that it would be a good scenario, and I was like, all right, well, I'll take the praise. That's fine. It's all good.
Yeah, and converting it, like it's still like you still would have to make changes for it to
Yeah.
to convert from. You can't just do a one-to-one from Lord of the Rings to Marvel, right? So
No,
like
yeah.
I'm sure there's still plenty of creativity coming from you for it. So
I've got
that's
a couple
awesome.
of more ideas to do that, but I think trying to get around the whole stage and area aspect of it, which is a part of the Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings game that I love, trying to get around that concept is hard. That's the actual only real challenge. But anyway,
Yeah.
oh, this is amazing. We can talk about all Lord of the Rings for the next couple of hours, but we can't. I've grabbed another one of your scenarios. Dwayne Murphy. What's the idea behind this one?
Yeah. So this one, the idea is you're actually fighting these brothers, Dwayne and Joel, and so the scenario is basically you're doing a wagon heist, and then these guys are also trying to perform a heist on the same wagon, and so you're kind of like fighting
Oh,
them for the
cool.
wagon,
Love it.
and so one of them, so in the scenario, one of them is more schemy, and the other one's more attacky,
Mm.
and you're kind of depending on who you defeat first. So they're both in play tower defense, right? Like with
Yeah.
Proxima
Glaive.
and
Corvus.
Glaive, yeah, and thank you. And Glaive. And so they're both in play, but you can defeat one without defeating the other one. And based on which one you defeat sends you to either 2A or 3A. And so one of them is basically just a shootout where now you killed his brother and he's just trying to kill you. And the other one is you killed his brother and he's afraid you're going to kill him, so he's just trying to run away. So he's like trying to scheme out, and the other one's just trying to kill you based off of which one you defeat first.
That's great. I love it. I'm gonna play it. It's on the list. It's on my ever-growing queue of stuff to play. That's a cool idea. I
Awesome.
really like it. All right, well, let's. I know some viewers are probably screaming at me right now saying, "Get to Booster." So let's do it. Everybody loves Booster. Um, so you've
They're
branched
going to
out.
be just yeah, they're probably going to be disappointed when they see it's
Don't say
not the
that.
booster they
Don't
know,
don't say that.
because yeah.
It's sure. I'm sure it's fine. Let's get it out here. Let's spread the deck out. Oh, went off this. Almost
So
off the side.
this was actually the first non uh, of my own IP that I created. So
Yeah.
Booster was the first mainstream hero I made, and when I made him, I still wasn't fully indoctrinated into the custom community, and so I was just going off the master list off of what had been made, which,
Okay.
as I'm sure you're well aware, a
Yep.
ton has been made that's not on the master list. And
Yes.
so I didn't
It's
see
so out of date.
Booster, and I thought he'd be a cool hero that I felt like I could make a cool version of that nobody else had made. And
Yeah.
so that was my idea going in. And then, much to my chagrin, as I was like finishing up, I saw that Booster had in fact already been made,
Yeah. By AS.
and yeah, and by a legend into space, and so I was like, oh well, I already made it. So
Although that being said, ES is actually rejigging his boosters, so yeah. And there's a space for multiple characters. I mean, I've made this gag multiple times on this show. People are probably sick of me hearing me saying it, but it's if we can have 11 different versions of Daredevil, we can have two different booster golds. It's perfectly fine. It's everybody's different take on it, and I guarantee you, I don't want to put words in ES's mouth, but I guarantee you, he's just excited to see one. He would be all over it. So the more booster, the better everybody is in life. So we get Skeets
yeah,
as a permanent setup card. That's interesting. I noticed you put in Temporal
yes,
as well. That's very cool. I mean, ES did the same thing as an actual thing. That's pretty
yeah.
cool. When boosts are being counted as an encounter card, exhaust this card, change the value by one. Love it. Boost himself, look at the top card of
So
the encounter deck. So because he looks into the future, because of his visor thing, that's something. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, yeah. Explain. Yeah,
yeah,
explain booster. You don't need me to do it. Go.
so yeah, my booster is really leaning into the fact that he comes from the future, and so our future is his history, and so he comes here knowing certain events, like this side scheme I have
Mm.
is from a comic where he first comes to the present day when it was written, very far in his past, and so he knew that the president was going to be assassinated that day, and he saves his life, right? And so
Mm.
and this set is very much dealing with Booster knows things are going to happen, and how I incorporated that mechanically was he can look through the encounter deck, or not look through it, but he interacts with it. So a lot of his cards, you're looking at the I'll just grab a card. So,
Yeah.
for instance, his attack event here is choose an enemy, look at the top 5 cards of the encounter deck. You can reorganize the cards however you like, discard 3 of the looked at cards, and deal 1 damage to that enemy for each icon discarded. If you discarded a card with a star icon, then stun that enemy. So, you're looking at 5 cards, you're choosing basically the most icons to deal damage, and then you're putting the other 2 back on top with now that knowledge of what those next 2 cards are going to be.
Awesome.
And so, yeah, so a lot of his deck is trying to like figure out what the encounter cards are, and then like how to best utilize what's coming. Yeah,
Great. I love the naming convention too. Right punch, right time. Right place, right time. I like that. That's cool. Rip Hunter as a support because of the event that's got, what is it? Ask. It says Ask Booster on that board, doesn't it? At some point, or Booster
yeah,
knows, or something. Something about Booster. Cool. And the fact that you've actually got Ted Cord as the Blue Beetle. Love it.
yeah.
I was telling ES off for not having a Ted Cord Blue Boost. And yeah, he's Blue Beetle, and he was like, yeah, yep, there's one in the works. I was like, all right, sweet, awesome, cool. This is great. This is awesome. He seemed to sort of not feel too confident about it. I don't know why. It's cool, very cool, and it looks great. Yeah, one thing for sure, like you learnt that cards, how they look are just important as how they play to the community straight. I mean, pretty much straight away. You learnt that really quick. Yeah, they look very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you plan on doing any more DC stuff?
Um, yes. I actually created like on paper a Raven, but like a Teen Titans Raven. I really liked Teen Titans as a kid, and to me that's my Raven. So, but I was struggling with the art, and art is already something that I struggle with. So I'm not sure when I'll or if I'll be able to create that. But yeah, I definitely would love to make more DC stuff. The thing is, I really would like to make things that haven't been made, and so
Mm,
much of at least my knowledge of the DC universe has already been covered, and
yeah.
so it'd probably be hard for me to find a spot. But if I felt like there was a hero that really deserved existing, and I felt like it was somebody who like I knew well enough to make a cool set for, I definitely would.
Make a Ted Cord Blue Beetle. Do it. He's missing from the table.
I was thinking actually of making a Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle,
No,
but
no, he's already been done. He's been done to
has
death.
he?
Yeah,
That's the
yeah,
problem.
he's been done. Somebody made an actual proper version of him, and I did a reskin of Spider-Man into him, and I'm sick of seeing his face. I want Ted. He needs to be represented.
You made one and you're sick of seeing his
Yeah,
face.
I don't want to do it anymore. I just there's like a thing where you're testing scenarios. It's best to use like official content, right? Official content versus
Yeah,
what if you're testing this a custom scenario, use an official hero and vice versa, right?
yeah,
It's always it's not frowned upon to do custom versus custom, but it just doesn't give you the right sense of how it sort of works, right? Because you're the official
right.
stuff, you know how it works, right? You've already played it,
Yeah,
and I stream quite often. I stream with a friend named Joshy, and he really wanted to do like a one custom DC scenario sort of stuff. So to get around, but he's also very big on theme. So instead of having Spidey and Hulk versus whatever the scenario was that we were doing, I reskinned Spidey and Hulk into DC characters, Blue Beetle and Bizarro, and so then we played it that way.
very
So
cool.
yeah, that's the only reason I did it. Otherwise, I wouldn't even look at a James Reyes Blue Beetle. No offense to Reyes as a Blue Beetle, I've got nothing against the guy, but he's no Ted Cord. That's all I need to
It sounds like you might.
say. I've unintentionally revealed my hatred of Reyes. I apologize. Um, while we were looking at Booster, I noticed something that actually I wanted to mention about your table that I really quite like. This is pretty cool. Is you've got precons. You've got precons for
I do.
all of your stuff, and
I do.
thank you from the bottom of my testing heart that you have done this, because deck building is one thing I really suck at, and I'm just nowhere near as clever as some people with like villain theory or lime or something like that, right? So they're very good at that sort of stuff, whereas I just suck. So yeah, every single one's got a precon. Love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it makes it a lot easier. Why did you decide to go down that sort of route, having the precon for everything?
I really did want to make it accessible to in case someone else wanted to try it out. And so I know that not everybody enjoys deck building, and or at least not as much as I do. And so I wanted just to have a quick, like, this was the first, either like the first type of deck I made with them, or an aspect in which I think this hero works really well in. And I just, so all of these, all the precons are basically just the decks I tested the hero with initially.
Oh, okay. That's cool. That's a cool idea. And did you went with protection for Ornn, for example? I'm just pulling out Ornn while you're talking.
I did. I
So
did.
you went protection. Is that because you feel that protection was the best aspect for him to test in? I mean, would that be his strongest one?
It's where I thought that he would probably uh, shine brightest when testing too. Solo is such a different game than like four
Yes.
players or two players or any count, right? And
Yeah.
so the number of players impacts how Marvel Champions plays so much
Mm.
that it's hard for me to say Protection's his best. Like, honestly, Justice is probably the best for solo for most of the heroes, just
Yeah.
because Justice deals with the thwarting issue that Solo can have very well. Um,
Good point.
but I thought so. I try to make them agnostic of the fact of player count, and just where, like, overall I feel like that hero would be most at home, and I thought that would be protection for him.
How much testing do you do for when you make a new stuff? Do you test in like all of the aspects? Do you then test in solo and multiplayer? Like, how far do you go before you think, okay, this guy is actually now releasable?
Um, so you asked a few questions there.
Yeah, sorry.
So how much I test is very dependent on, generally, how quickly I have a idea of a new character after making this one. um,
Cool.
and then I generally don't test in all aspects. I probably should, but I generally don't. And then I play mostly solo, and then with people through this community when they'll play with me. So all of my player counts at higher than solo is basically through um, people in this community. And
Yeah.
so the most testing is definitely at solo,
Hmm.
and that's where I feel balancing wise is usually where my stuff starts. And then when I am fortunate enough to play with other people playing my stuff, then I can kind of see, like, oh, this might need to get tweaked because of multiplayer. Or when you add more players, this thing kind of becomes unhinged or gets a little bit unbalanced, and then I can start making tweaks off of that.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. Well, I pulled out Orn. He's from your quite large League of Legends collection. League of Legends is a very popular subject. I've had multiple creators on these spotlights that deal with League of Legends and stuff like that. It's pretty fascinating stuff. What drew you
Yeah.
to doing some League of Legends content?
Yeah, so League I played way too much League of Legends in college. Like
Is that actually
I
true? I don't think
probably
that's true. You're a very nice
yes.
person. You seem very nice and genuine to me. And League of Legends players are all psychopaths. How did you get around that? How were you not corrupted?
That's hilarious. It sounds like you play the game, but
I've played it once or twice, and I thought, you know what? I've got better things to do with my time. This is so toxic.
yeah, it is funny that League is so widely and accurately known as like having such a toxic player base. But and while like that is the interaction like you get playing the game online, all of the actual League players I've met in real life are like nice people and like fun to
Lies.
hang out with. No, I swear it's true. I know it sounds unbelievable, but it's true. Um, yeah, so League was something that I was well versed in, and honestly, I can't remember. I probably saw somebody made a League character, and then like, oh, we can do that, and then like it kind of just flowed from there. I remember more distinctly that's what happened with Overwatch. When I
Mm.
started making Overwatch stuff is because I think I saw Tuna's Overwatch stuff. I was like,
Yes.
oh man, that works so. It's like that works so perfect. Like it converts so well.
Yeah.
And then the ideas just started kind of coming for mechanics for characters for that game. And I think I had the same experience with League, where like in both of those games, you're playing characters that already have inbuilt identities and like abilities. Like they each League of Legend character for the most part, they've kind of gone off script on this with some people, but have four abilities. And so then you're basically converting this four ability pool into a 15 card hero deck, right?
Mm.
And for me, it kind of came pretty intuitively for most of them. I felt like it made a pretty easy conversion, and
Yeah.
so I didn't struggle too much to for like mechanics and for the creation of the League stuff.
Yeah. No, you touched it. You touched on the fact that they have four abilities in game, right? So four abilities, and you basically just
Yeah,
have to use those whenever you can, whenever they're not on cooldown. One of the creators
right.
that I've had on the show before is a massive League fan and it's just an amazing amount of work for League. And they talked about how they implemented a sort of a mechanic to sort of represent the cooldown aspect of those four abilities. Did you do something similar?
Yeah. I haven't. I believe you're talking about Unicorn,
Yeah, unicorn. Yeah,
and yeah, I've seen some of Unicorn stuff, and Unicorn's like yeah, super talented at creation, and his stuff looks amazing, and it's awesome.
mm.
Um, and his counter mechanism is super thematic to League, and it makes a ton of sense. I haven't found a place to use that mechanic or a similar mechanic in any of my stuff yet,
Mm.
but I think it's a brilliant idea, and like he converted that mechanic like really well from League over to Marvel Champions. So yeah, that's something really cool that he did.
And then how do your characters sort of do your characters even do you even make note of the fact that there's like a four ability cooldown and types of stuff, or they just you just represent their abilities? I know nothing about League. I don't know if that's been made apparent right now,
Yeah,
but do
yeah,
you
no,
then represent that in the cards?
yeah, I more took yeah, just a more thematic approach to what their abilities are doing and to
Gotcha.
like what the character is, and it's even a little different because like Caitlyn, for instance, the one you have up above Orn,
Mm.
is part of my Arcane series, which kind of pollutes the water even a little bit more. So League of Legends is a game, Arcane is a show that's based off of the League of Legends characters and IP. And so
Mm.
for the Arcane, like for my Caitlyn, while it is very reminiscent of the character from the game, it's even more picturesque of the character from the show because that
Gotcha.
was really the source material I was zooming in on while making the arcane characters was very much based off of the show's version of that character.
Awesome. And why did you decide to go down that route, the arcane version instead of the more sort of traditional game version?
Yeah, good question. So I don't know if you've seen Arcane,
Yeah,
but
I've,
it's
I've seen the
awesome.
first couple of episodes. Yeah, that's good.
Oh man, first couple and you stopped. Oh, it sounds
Yeah,
like not a fan, but
I've got so
all
no, no.
right.
It wasn't that I didn't like it. It's just I got distracted by something else. I think is what it was. I'm very easily distracted. So I think maybe it was Andor or something, and then I just got obsessed. And then sort of so no. It's not.
That's
I'm
funny. I
not
was
saying I don't
watching the
like Arcane.
reverse.
I'll go back and watch it. I've got so much stuff on my list. Bubbles introduced me to the Cowboy Bebop universe that I have to
Yeah,
watch all of that
yeah.
now. Just understand
No,
what's
that's a
going on.
great one, and that's only
So
one season.
yeah,
Arcane's only two, but
all right.
Cowboy Bebop's definitely that's a classic. That's Cowboy Bebop is yeah a must watch for sure. But Arcane is awesome. It is awesome, and I've actually also talked with Bubble about Arcane being awesome, so I know he agrees.
There you go. Done.
But yeah, so I to answer the question, I don't know why I got drawn to specifically make the Arcane heroes. I don't know if I was like on League of Legends. You know what? It probably was. I finally felt like I had the art to create a League of Legends character because a lot of the art that the other creators use for their League stuff, I was unaware of how or where they were getting it. So a lot of my arcane stuff is literally me pulling like screenshots from the show.
Hmm.
So I think it was probably an art thing now that I'm actually thinking about it. I was probably like, oh, I can actually use this art and yeah. I think it was probably an art thing. Why
More
I
of an art
decided to
thing.
make the arcane.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, there seems to be a lot of very high quality art for this game and this universe.
Yeah.
It's quite amazing. I mean, Caitlyn looks amazing. Um, Very cool, and she's a sniper, which I love. I love that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. And you also made some encounters for it. Oh,
I
jeez,
did.
your output is just awesome. Wait, where's the one that I played?
The one you played
Mordecai,
is
Mordecai.
right here. It's this bottom bag, the
This
Machine
bottom it.
Herald.
Oh, let's go. Let's go that one. No offense to Silco, but all right. This one I've actually played myself. Yeah, here we go. So this is where I met you for the first time. Was playing your encounter. It
Yeah,
was
that's
cool. It
right.
was a good time. It was a good time. All right, here we go. Machine Head. What's that? What's the deal? What's going on with this scenario?
Yeah, so Machine Herald Victor is very
Machine Herald. I said Machine Head. Sorry.
very I don't take offense. I don't know if he will, but
I apologize.
is very Ultron coded, and so very much about kind of like swarming minions. The biggest difference is so in the show, Victor is kind of like assimilating people into kind of become his drones. And so his
Mm.
army is basically like people that he has created like a hive mind of people to follow him. And so in the scenario, you're being swarmed, but it's by your allies. And so like he can convert your allies, and then he can. I guess it is similar to the drones, where the drones are shown as the top card of your deck, just upside down, where he can pull your deck in as enemies as well. And so he's pulling your deck in that you have to fight, and then he can like transform your allies into his uh, minions. And so he yeah, very Ultron coded, but I think still is a very unique like play experience than actually playing Ultron.
Yeah, a similar idea, but taken in a brand new direction, and that's absolutely
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that. That's how it works. This having it indicates that you have a really firm grasp of the initial mechanic, but also talented enough to then take it in a new direction and you make something unique, which I think is what you did. Yeah, I had a lot of fun playing against this. I was scared out of my brain at points, and I think that's a success. That means it's a successful scenario. When you're worried, so I could I could lose at any moment here, but not because it was just not because it was bloody fanaticism RNG. It was because it's like, well, this is an actual threat, like a worldwide threat sort of stuff. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Very very cool.
Well, thank you. Yeah, very kind.
Uh, and again, just looks great. I love the art on this. It's the like the color design here is very cool. The background, the yellow but with the blue as well. That seems to match. It just looks mechanical. Yeah, your art is definitely very cool. Would this be
Thanks.
your
Yeah, this art
favorite?
is actually like from the show.
Oh, there you go. Oh
So
yeah,
like,
awesome.
yeah.
Is he like the main bad of one of the seasons or something? Or
Um,
is that spoiler?
I don't want to spoil anything.
Because he seems like a nice guy. Here, look at Victor's call. Like he seems quite nice. What's so bad about
He
that?
is a nice guy,
I want to be
honestly. He is a
perfected.
nice guy.
He's not a nice guy. He's turning you into drones. That's not nice. Free will is very important for the human race. So what would be your favorite uh, LOL output? Do you think? What was your favorite LOL creation?
Um,
And I mean League of Legends, not
my
laugh out loud.
favorite. Yeah. My favorite. That's tough. Honestly, it's usually I have just most recently created, which in this case is Orn. But
Cool.
I honestly I really like. So I'm a fan of like the mechanics, and so I like which I like most of them. But I like what like my echo mechanic is. I really switched up how you use upgrades, and I was trying to kind of like turn upgrades into events. And so basically, how his mechanic works is you play an upgrade down for zero. They're all like zero cost upgrades, but then they come in with time counters. And if you want to actually get the card to do anything, you have to pay a resource per time counter on it. So if you want to put it
Ooh.
down and immediately play it, you're going to be paying a premium. But his hero ability is he takes off a time counter at the start of each player phase. So over time, then you get to play an awesome effect for free if you wait long enough, or for a discount if you can't wait the entirety of the process. But so basically,
Cool.
his core mechanic is these upgrades that function like events, but you just play them beforehand, which also I think is pretty thematic to Echo, who deals with like his whole thing in the show and in the game is he can manipulate time and he can go backwards in time, and so basically you're like waiting for the right moment, and so and that's kind of what you're doing through his set is you're playing these cards down, but then you have to actually wait for the right moment uh, by letting these counters tick away.
That's amazing. And then what happens if there are no time counters here when discarded, put this card into play. Okay. Wow. That's very cool.
Yeah, and then they all have a kicker if you can wait until it has no time counters, then not only is it free, but it's even better. And so they all come in at so basically the idea on this or the balance on this was if you wanted to just play this, like if I wanted to just play this and immediately play it, like I got this and I put it down, it has four time counters. So I can just spend four resources, but then all I'm doing is removing four threat. So effectively five ER for four threat removal, which
Yeah.
is
Not great.
terrible, right? It's just really bad.
Yeah.
But if you can wait and all of a sudden, it's remove four threat from a scheme. If no counters were on this, remove four threat from a scheme. So now you paid a zero cost card to remove eight threat, which is amazing,
Yeah.
right?
But you had to
And
wait four
so,
turns to do it though, right?
but you have to wait the turns to do it.
Hmm.
And so the whole thing, and he has ways to take the counters off, so you can
Hmm.
expedite that process.
Hmm.
But the idea is like, can you wait for the right moment, or will you have to kind of pull the trigger early because of circumstance in the game, right?
Yeah. And he's deck is protection. That makes perfect sense. He screams protection. That is awesome. Yeah, that's very cool. A very cool idea. Love it. And is that so? That's his ability, and so you created the mechanic based on that. That was your inspiration.
Yeah, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, well, let's move on to some of the others. You mentioned Overwatch, uh, and you mentioned Just a Tuner, of course. His output is insane, and I mean that in a good way. It's just amazing the amount of output he has. But you've dipped your toes into Overwatch as well. So I guess you're also an Overwatch player as well.
I was very much into Overwatch when it first came out. I was really into Overwatch for like 3 years, 3 or 4 years, and then I tried to get back into it with Overwatch 2, but it was just too painful for me. I felt like they kind of went out of their way to ruin a great game. So Overwatch 2 makes me sad.
Overwatch 2, I think, just makes everything generic. Like, there's nothing really unique that stands out anymore, is my sort of take on it. I wasn't
Yeah.
a huge Overwatch fan, but anyway. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you've got your Overwatch sort of output here. Did you make your sort of favorite characters first, or did you make them as you had ideas for them?
Yeah, I kind of just made, or at least in the beginning, I was just kind of making my mains. I think I just make the things I'm most familiar with because
Yeah,
like their sets make sense to me. Like just mechanically, it's a really easy transition in my mind.
yeah.
Like to when I'm more familiar with something, right? To like make it into something. So yeah, so Reaper was probably my most played in Overwatch, and so then. I think he was my first. I think he was my first Overwatch creation. Yeah.
Wow. Cool. Awesome. Um, do you have any future projects? Oh, wait, wait. Oh, no, no, no. No, no, no. I made a fatal mistake. Bungo Stray Dog Heroes. We need to talk about this. We need to talk about this.
Yeah.
I had to Google this. Um, I have no idea what. Please enlighten our audience, who may be as ignorant as I am, about what is Bungo Stray, and why did you do things based on it?
Yeah. So Bungo Stray Dogs is anime slash manga, and and it's a cool show. I didn't read the manga, so I only all of my Bungo Stray Dogs knowledge is just from the anime,
Right.
and so which it's a cool show. It's definitely I would still suggest watching Cowboy Bebop and Arcane before you plunge into Bungo.
Oh,
But
blasphemy!
it's a cool show, and it's actually it's funny because it has like flashback seasons, and the
Mm,
first season is the main character is the character you're looking at right now at Sushi, and it's so much like I watched it, and so obviously it was good enough for me to keep watching through it.
mm.
But the second season is a flashback season, which is about a secondary character in the first season, and it's such a better show. Like all of the flashback seasons are so much more compelling. It's actually crazy. Like it's a weird reward you get if you actually get through like the first season. You get this awesome second season. So you have that to look forward to if you ever do decide to get
Oh,
into
yeah,
Bungo Stray Dogs.
I've
Like
added it to the list already. I did a Google read of
perfect.
the
Then
wiki
you have
page
to
or
get back
whatever.
to
And
you have to make it to the flashback seasons though. The
okay,
flashback seasons are actually like great. Where I can't say the same thing for the first season, but it's fun. It's a fun. I don't know if you like anime, but it's a fun anime. It's like a fun action adventure anime, and so this character in their universe, people have different powers as most or a lot of animes are centralized around. And his power is when there's a full moon, he turns into a tiger, and so
mm,
he's known as the were tiger. And throughout the show, he learns how to control that power. And the main mechanic with my Atsushi character is, which I don't actually know if it works at all. So this was a really experimental thing I was trying where I was making events slash upgrades. So I don't know if you can see this, but
mm.
like this Legs of the Beast is it's labeled as an event slash upgrade, and the idea was you play it as an event for a one time effect, but then it stays in play as an upgrade. and then you have access to an ongoing effect like you would with an upgrade. Um, and then the balancing mechanic was the first time you play one, it's not great, but when you get more of the same upgrade into play, they get better and better. And then you only have yeah. So that was the idea,
Hmm.
but which because of formatting, I'm not sure. I only recently I don't pay nearly enough attention to formatting, is what I've learned while creating. Because I didn't even realize that events and upgrades are formatted different. Like event
Yeah.
cards don't have the side box, right? And like
No.
their names are on top. So I don't know if this idea works at all just because of the formatting. But yeah, that was the idea behind him.
Well, you've broken the formatting for sure, but as does it, I work as still as an idea. I don't think that's a problem. May We should have a discussion about this. The idea that it's an event played as an event, but then becomes an upgrade. I think is quite fascinating. I think that's a cool idea. Does it actually break the system? Maybe, but I'm no expert. I'm not the man to speak about that. But I think it's a cool idea, though. That's very very cool. Wow, jeez. If only they could be like flip cards, but of course they can't because then if they're in their deck, you got to know exactly what it is, right? But and then you can
Yeah.
have both formatting. But oh, there's ideas. There's ideas. Very cool. All right. Well, I will add this. I've added this to my list of things to watch. Um, you asked if whether I was into anime or not. Not really. No, not really. I used to work at EB Games, which is now called something else, and we had a relationship with the anime company in Australia called Madman, who were like a
Hmm.
distributor of like Japanese shows and stuff. And so they used to give us free content, and I used to just give them to my staff because I was the manager. So I used to just give them to the workers there for hard work rewards and stuff. And now I'm kicking myself because I had like the full season of Cowboy Bebop and
Oh man.
and things like that. All those sorts of crazy sort of stuff. I don't
Yeah.
recognize it, but oh well, it is what it is. I can't keep it all for myself. That's just rude. Cool. All right. So, is there any future projects that you've got in mind that you can spoil for us? That you're willing to spoil for us?
The main thing I'm working on right now is so the Arcane. I was trying to make like a mini campaign, like a three scenario Mojo S campaign for Arcane.
Cool. Awesome.
Uh, and then I just started creating heroes, and then I couldn't stop creating the Arcane heroes. But the idea was just to have like I probably intended to only have like two Arcane heroes and then make three encounters, but then I ended up just I just kept going. But anyways,
Love it.
so I'm working on the Arcane campaign, and it's basically done because it's just the three encounters, which as you can see,
Yeah.
I have the three encounters.
Yep.
But so now I'm just making like the campaign
Component.
specific stuff, and
Yeah.
so
That.
which the idea with that campaign is you can kind of choose your role within the world, and so like within the Arcane and within like League of Legends, there's something called like Hex Tech,
Mm-hmm.
which is like their fusion of magic and technology, and then
Right.
there's also something called Chemtech, which is their fusion of like chemical and technology, and then there's the enforcers, which are like they're the police in this story. It's in Piltover, and they have and then there's this like gang called the Firelights, and so you can basically choose if you want to be a hex tech engineer, which would give you I think the mystic trait, or you could be a Chemtech scientist, which gives you the genius trait, or you could be join the Firelights, which gives you aerial, or you could join the Enforcers, which, man, what is it? It gives you something else. But
Mm.
basically, the idea is whichever path you go down, gives you a completely unique deck building experience. So then you could build like a Mystic Wolverine deck, right?
Mm.
And so the idea was you could you could have a fun unique deck building experience for these three encounters. So it probably doesn't matter if it turns out that Wolverine being a mystic is super busted because it's just for these three scenarios, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's the idea, and so I'm kind of just mostly trying to finish that up, which I'm pretty close to.
Awesome. That sounds very cool. Yeah, it's one of the official campaigns has sort of like a role type system as well that would seem to be well received. I think it's one of the mutant ones. But that's a cool idea. That's a cool concept. Really like it. Awesome. All right. Are there any? You've mentioned a few like creators and stuff during the thing, but are there any creators or creations that have inspired you in your work?
Um, yeah, definitely. I think I have mentioned like I definitely feel like I need to give Tuna credit for Overwatch. I definitely saw his Overwatch stuff, and that gave me the Overwatch bug. I started thinking that was a really cool avenue.
Awesome.
There, there are several really awesome league creators. I know Unicorn, Kogahan. I think Beretta Beast too has
Yep.
league stuff. So they've all made awesome stuff. Outside of my stuff, I know Inkwire. I feel like I have to give him a shout out.
Hmm.
He really helped me a lot with understanding different elements of the creation process for this game.
Awesome.
And he's made some awesome stuff. I don't know if you've checked out his TMNT stuff,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, for
he's
sure.
made some really cool stuff.
Yep.
Um, yeah, there's honestly you like you like watching your custom stuff is I honestly I don't have the clearest memory, but I'm pretty sure that's why I got into and found this custom community in the first place. So thanks. Let me just say thank you, honestly. Uh,
Awesome. I didn't plan for that to happen. So no, thank you. No, you're right. Yeah, all the creators you mentioned, obviously, just very good at what they do. Yeah, just we mentioned Tuner's output is just, and the thing about Tuner's output that really amazes me is it's just a crap ton of stuff. It's just amazing, just how much he puts out.
yeah,
But he's very thoughtful about everything. He doesn't just churn it out. Like he's very thoughtful about it that he does, and he revises and he balance checks, and it's just, I mean, it's all quality. And so, and Ink's expanded universe type stuff, Masters Universe. The Turtle project is an insane project. It's huge, but yet it's beloved for a reason because it's just so good and stuff. So yeah, no, you've definitely, and Bretta, of course, who I love. Yeah, awesome stuff. And yeah, thanks for the shout out for me. That's great. I'm just glad that it's just these sort of things sort of reaches people and gets them into the community and gets some more custom content and stuff. We've got so much content to go through. It's just crazy.
yeah,
It's just
it
awesome. It's
really
just
is.
amazing. Yeah, very talented people. So, cool, awesome. Is there anything that you wanted to talk about that I didn't mention? Any final thoughts?
Um, I think yeah, we've kind of covered it. I do just want to reiterate that I didn't name everybody that I've interacted with
Hmm.
in the community, but I'm super grateful to everyone I've had the pleasure of meeting through this community and interacting with in any capacity. It's filled with a lot of awesome people, and so I do want to just shout everybody out, even if I didn't uh, mention them by name.
Awesome. Yeah. Very cool. Cool. Well, Insano, this has been amazing. This has been I can't stress how fun this has been. It's just your own comic, Lord of the Rings LCG love. There should be more of it. Just and your own sort of your own work. It's really good quality stuff that people would be excited to play and stuff. And you've just been so cool. You're such a cool dude. So I love it. Awesome. So
Thank you.
yeah. So thank you for being part of the Spotlight series. I really appreciate it. And Yeah, we're gonna get some more games. I really want to do like an indie, like a game, an indie themed game where it's basically your Western guys. I think that would be cool. That'd be awesome if you're up
Yeah,
to it.
that'd be
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah,
yeah,
count me in.
yeah.
And thanks for having me again.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
No worries. It's so awesome. Really appreciate it. So yeah, I think we've mentioned it already this episode, but if you are watching this and have an idea, and you want to take advantage of the community that is there for you, click the link to the invite that I'll have in the description of the video. Check out, Insanohops stuff. Check out everybody else that we mentioned. And you'll be able to access the tools as well that you can actually then, like we wouldn't be here without Hitch's templates, and the Cerebro app, and just everything else is just there and available for you. So there's a lot of helpful people there that you get that creation made. Even if you don't have something that you want to make and you just want to access the awesome library of content that is available to you, there's enough content in here, far more than official stuff, and there's enough content here to last you for years. So it's you've got a favorite hero that hasn't been made yet, and you want to give them a go. Booster, jump in there, check it out. It's awesome stuff. So click that link. I'll also have links to Insano's TTS drive as well if you want to go there and take advantage of the TTS stuff. It's already pre-made. They all come with precons. If that doesn't sway you, nothing else will. It's very, very cool. But yeah, as always, like and subscribe and all that sort of stuff. If you want to check out the rest of my videos, please do so, especially the Creator Spotlight series. Just a ton of talented people, very passionate about their stuff. Go check those out as well. Insano, once again, thank you very much for joining me. And the most important thing out of everything we've said, please make sure that you tell the people that you love them as often as you can. Take care, everybody. Thanks.